We are in week 7, and this week is all about putting together your welcome series, and then the technical part is automating the welcome series. And I'm going to show you another little tip that I've got on how you can use the canned responses in Gmail to help make your responses on the rest of the correspondence and communication with your clients. So yeah, TJ, if you wanted to share some of your unique benefits.
Well, one of them was that somebody came in for urinary urgency issues and they were completely resolved. So that was a star. I don't know how many people can actually claim that they did that.
I'm just curious, what did you do to resolve it? What was your...
I mobilized the bladder and worked with the ureters. And then there was a restriction in the urachus, which goes from the liver to the top of the bladder, and I released that ligament.
And what are you doing exactly when you're doing that?
I am feeling, my hands are very calibrated, are highly calibrated to feel the different tissues of the body and the different depths of the body at the different depths of the body. And I can feel where there's a restriction, a hardness, a bump, so to say. So say like you're making a pie dough and you've got the flour and the water and you're mixing this dough together and it's supposed to be smooth when you roll it out and everything. And you can feel where the lumps and the bumps and the clumps are if you haven't mixed it well enough. And so what you go in is you knead it and you push it and you pull it and you stretch it a certain way that in order to get the lumps and the bumps out of the dough. You can do the same thing with the fascia, as long as you can do the same thing with the fascia. And it's a feel that you have. Your hands become highly sensitive, and it's a calibrated feel. I can compare it, and you'll understand it this way. You ride your horse, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You have the reins in your hands, and you're sitting on top of your horse, and you're communicating with your horse between your hands and your legs and your seat. Micro movements need to be made in order to get your horse to respond. You can feel in the horse's mouth. It's a very sensitive feel. Some horses have a very soft mouth. Some horses have a harder mouth. So in order to get the horse to respond, possibly like, okay, to get the horse to stop, you're supposed to sink into your seat, use your legs and drive them into the bit while you create a little blockage with your hands so that they are kind of coming into a wall and they stop. And so too, with your hands, with the feeling these restrictions in the body, feeling a ligament that's too tight, it's like a rubber band that's stretched like to its maximum capacity, and there's no more stretch to it. It just doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so you work with the tissue in order to bring back elasticity into that ligament. You work with the fascia around an organ so that that organ can move, just like in getting your horse, if you've done any dressage and maybe lower level dressage where you want to get the horse to bend around your leg. There's a different kind of a feeling as that horse becomes like butter and blends and molds around your leg, making a turn, as opposed to a horse that's like stiff and kind of making the turn like a piece of board. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. So have you ever explained it like that? Have you ever explained?
No, because most people don't ride. They don't get the correlation between riding a horse and the feel that you have in your hands when you're asking the horse to do something, and the different I mean, you got to be on hundreds of different horses to know that each horse has a different type of mouth, and only over time do you develop your hands. And I think that this is where my hands really got developed, was over the 25 years of riding that I did and all the hundreds of horses I sat on. So, it's hard to explain that to somebody who's never been on a horse or who has never used their hands for anything sensitive. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
So
Isn't part of
I just had a thought.
I was gonna say, isn't part of that like also intuition?
a big part of it is intuition, and I am very psychic. Yes.
Yeah.
I can tap into different energies. Yeah. But I'm not going to go out and tell people I can tap into their energy, you know, or that I can tap into somebody's energy and I can tell you a
I don't know.
notebook.
I think the right people you can.
I don't think there's anything wrong with telling that. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think I think
the one
What?
thing that I think is interesting is that you never once said transcranial sacral therapy.
No, you
or
say
whatever.
so wrong. Craniosacral therapy.
But isn't that
No.
interesting though? You really explained, and now I got a really good vision of what it is that you do. So that's a much more compelling story. Even if you don't ride, it's like, oh, okay, I can really understand what this person is doing now to me and how that will help me. So do you
I
see
had
how
my-
that's an entirely different conversation than when you're just saying
Right.
what you do or what the modality is?
I understand.
Yeah.
Another person.
So that
put
was
it-
very good.
Another person put it, she is so intuitive and has such a deep connection to people that she just knew how uncomfortable I was. That was not that I was, that was before I was, she insisted I come by anyway so she could listen to my body and try one or two techniques. I was just blown away by her ability to sense, read, and pick up the various signals my body was telling her. So that's what one other person said.
So yeah, that's so you turn that around and you say, well, what can you do with other people? Is that by sensing and reading, and feeling and being intuitive about what is wrong with you, I'm better able to help you with things that you may not even know about.
I
So
see.
those are that is a very unique thing that you do that you need to put into your into your communication, into your conversation.
can I
Yes,
just
Sherry.
say something?
Yes,
Hi.
Sherry.
Can you hear me? It
Yes.
seems like
No.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So two things I wanted to point out. One was that you said you don't want to tell people that, but in a testimonial from someone, they said that back to you.
Oh, I
And
don't mind.
so I think there are plenty of people that understand people being able to read other people's energy and being intuitive. And I don't think you should be afraid to tell people that, is what I'm saying, or use that in your marketing, because I think there are a whole bunch of people that would really resonate with. And then another thing that I wanted to, oh, hey, Renee. Another
Hi,
thing that I
Renee.
wanted to point out now I'm not familiar with where you're located in Florida, but have you ever thought of doing some target marketing specifically towards equestrians? Have you ever done that or thought about that?
I have had people
Because, just a minute, Rosie, shush. Just a minute, we have a dog thing here. Hey, Rose, shush.
They were
Because
bugging me earlier.
the reason that I said that is what? John?
I said the dogs were down here bugging me earlier, wanting to get in.
Oh, I fed them, so they're okay. But Charlie and Rose were just bugging each other. But anyway, what I was going to say is that equestrians really get equestrians, and equestrians have so much physically going on with their body, and they completely get, well, most do. I don't know, I shouldn't say everybody, but many, riders completely get that whole energy thing, and how subtle movements, just like you explained to us, can make huge differences. And so I just thought that might be something interesting for you to look at as a little bit of a niche market, because you have an understanding on so many levels that would allow you to tell that story and connect to people. And, it might even be having a little section on your website about your horse experience or how you could connect with equestrians. So go ahead.
Yeah, I've had some people from that work with the horses down here that I've known from the past. And one girl, I should get her to give me a testimonial for the equestrian field, because she couldn't sit on her horse to drive her horse forward because she had hurt her tailbone. And we resolved that issue, so she can now sit on her horse.
Yeah.
She's come back to me a couple of times with back issues.
Yeah, and that's
because
one thing.
What's kind of, could I just finish speaking? What was kind of interesting is, how I have our public group, the drugless practitioner public group, where I'm encouraging everybody to post businesses, but nobody seems to be doing it. But anyway, I had put a post on there about craniosacral therapy, and the couple people that commented all said, yes, I have this done on me and my horse. So I just thought that was really interesting. I don't know if you've ever done that for horses. I imagine that takes special training, but that was the feedback that I got, that everybody was like, and so I'm just putting it out there, because sometimes I think we, things are so close in our life that we overlook them, and so just talking to you and knowing of your love of horses and your past and your experience and everything, I just think that would then allow you to post in like free equestrian Facebook groups, and there's a lot of ways that you could target. There's always riding clubs and different things looking for people to come in and talk to them about ways that you can help people with their riding. You could also partner with someone who, if you don't want to partner with someone who does craniosacral therapy on a horse. One of our practitioners is a PEMF practitioner and a massage therapist, and she works in Jupiter, Florida,
Yep.
which is kind of past Wellington and Palm Beach.
Sure.
And she specializes in working on the horse and ride together. It's her feeling that she sees issues in the horse coming from the people. Like if I'm crookedy like this in the saddle, it's throwing the horse off the other way, and it all works together. So I just ever since I did that post, and then I started thinking about Joy, and it was something that I wanted to share with you. And then today, when you brought up that whole example of knowing and feeling horses, I just thought it might be a worthwhile idea for you.
It is a good idea. One of the things, like if you're looking at how the person's sitting on the horse, I guess the way I, up until now, have looked at it is that's part of giving a riding lesson. How to get a person to sit up straight on a horse, and how, like, for instance, I'm sure in your lessons you've been told square your shoulders, straighten your back. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
here's
but
here's a whole different concept to that. It's not about the back.
But a lot of
it's not about the shoulders. It's about the diaphragm, lifting the diaphragm. And people don't say that about lifting the older books, you have it where it's about lifting from the belt buckle, lifting the diaphragm. But nobody, in all of my years of having lessons, being around trainers, I've never heard anybody say anything about lift your diaphragms in order to get your back straighter. And that way the back is straighter and more relaxed. So to me, it's more like giving a lesson rather than doing this therapy. But it's, I'll think about that.
I disagree. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. After I had Samantha, I went back and started taking some, I didn't have a horse at the time, and I went back and started taking lessons again when she was about, I don't know, maybe a year or two old, or I don't know, maybe she was a little older. Maybe I had Quinn then. Anyway, and I was riding and feeling perfectly, like I was in the tack and I was riding, and the riding instructor kept saying, you're like really crooked to one side. And I was like, and it was just really weird. And then we figured out it had been because I had been like this, standing with the babies, on my left hip. And I literally was like, my musculature or whatever, I literally was off kilter. Now, when I got on a horse, I felt like I was okay. But like, I'm just saying something like that. And that's what a wonderful, I would love to connect you with Joy and have you talk to her. But yes, I understand squaring up and lifting from your diaphragm, but sometimes people physically have something going on, just like you just said, that they don't even realize that might be inhibiting them from having the flexibility or balance or moving in a certain way that you could intuitively find and help them with their writing. So just another different way to look at it. It just has an experience that I had.
No, great. Thank you. You gave me an idea of how to say it. And that is taking the imbalances out of the body in order for people to sit squarely on the horse.
Yes.
So
that's good.
That's
yes.
Yeah, that's what I came up with. And Joy, what is Joy's last name? Kinney?
Her last name is Baker. Joy Baker.
I thought
and I will, and I can give you her contact information. It's really, what's so funny about Joy, I just tell you really quick because this is funny, is she is this sweet, gentle-natured woman that is covered in tattoos and does roller derby. You know that sport of roller derby?
Yeah.
Which is that like tough, rock'em, sock'em, and she would talk to her. She's like gentle, and I remember looking at her Facebook page and going, this has got to be this isn't the same person, She's almost got two personas, and so anyway, I just had to share that because that was just first time I met anyone who does roller derby and like loves it, and so that is very cool. But I don't know, just like I said, sometimes we're so close to things that we think like, and it just might be a little different, a little different idea. Our ideas are abundant. So
thank you. It's just
I hope that helps. I hope we can help you figure that out.
It did. It's just that it always has come so easily for me, certain things, not necessarily remembering the techniques all the time, but the feel has come so easily for me. I don't know how to describe it, but it's getting clearer. Mm-hmm. And this course has helped me to become a little more clear of how to say what to say and how to put it into a package. So I'm grateful for that.
That's great. And what we're trying
Have you ever done this on courses?
What?
Sorry.
Yes, I have, but not to where it's been anything really where it took off. I don't think actually doing the therapy on the horse is where I'm supposed to be. I think I'm supposed to be with people. It's with the people that I'm supposed to be. I don't think I'm supposed to be doing it actually on the horses.
Okay. All
And
right.
that's important
But
to
you might
understand
want
that.
to partner with somebody who does something on the horses. I was just saying you might want to partner with somebody who does it on the horses that could say like, yeah, this horse is always like major off on this side. That person's crookedy. You know, go see TJ. You know, just a thought. You know.
Right.
So.
So yeah, I can see a lot of times it's the owner, because previously when I could see what was wrong with the horse and what the horse needed, the owner wasn't willing to do what they needed to do.
Mm.
You know, and that was just being at somebody's barn that I used to know when I was doing it professionally. And
yeah,
yes, I take a look at the person's horse, and yeah, the horse had multiple issues, and here's what needs to be done, and it's not an overnight process. So a lot of times, unfortunately, it takes time working with the animal, and they need multiple things, just like a person needs multiple things done to them.
Yeah. And I know we have to move on, but what I meant was that maybe you could partner or make a relationship with somebody who works on horses to get it in for you.
I marked it down.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay, cool.
We're moving on, Sherry.
Yep.
I said that. So the point that we really wanted to make was that when you're telling your story and you're looking at all those different benefits, that you really want to make sure that you are paying attention to those unique ones. And you made the comment, TJ, about not wanting to be woo-woo-y, and I think a lot of people, me included, are really sensitive to not appearing too woo-woo-y. But there's a big market out there for that, and you really want to be paying attention to your authentic self. And if it happens to be woo-woo-y, well, there's really a gigantic market in that, and it's way better for you to be authentic than it is trying to appeal to more people. So in doing this welcome series, you really want to when you're writing it, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and open up the outlines of the 4 emails that I sent you. Did you guys get all those?
Yes, I printed them out.
Okay, good. So did that help you kind of organize your thoughts? And so you can see that the sections of the email is really outlined in a format, and then you can really start just plugging some of these benefits in there and crafting your email around this format. I think it's a lot easier than just starting with this blank piece of paper and going, okay, now what do I put down, but if you did the exercise last week of putting together all of the your benefits and then ranking them on emotional versus logical, how did you guys do with that? Did you find that your results were like way, most of mine are emotional, or most of mine are logical? Did you find them skewed one way or another? Do you guys remember seeing any significance of that?
Well, I think my benefits were logical because of they were result oriented.
Well, and
I don't know about anybody else.
Well, and it's funny because like I'm more of a logical person, so my results tend to be much more logical. Like Sherry is much more emotional, so her benefits tend to be much more appealing to the emotions of somebody. And really in people come, have both. Some people are very logical, some people are very emotional. People tend to act more on emotions than they do on logic. They tend to act on emotions and then justify it based on their logic. So emotional, benefits that appeal to your emotions sometimes can be really powerful. So when you're doing this, you do want to make sure that you're not like loading it all up on one side, that you're kind of balancing it. Go ahead, TJ, you got a question?
Yeah. Okay. So, so emotional would be something such as you got me back on my feet. Logical would be I slept through the whole night for the first time.
Yeah, those are benefits to them.
So I don't know what logical or emotional you're talking about. Can you give me an example of your own business?
Okay, sure. Dreaming of a career with horses is completely emotional. That's completely emotional. You're dreaming of this thing. Okay. So the logical explanation, the logical side of that is, well, if I do this, I can make money doing this. I can make money, I can make enough money so that I can make it a career. So, the making money of it is really like, okay, that's, being a real person, that's got to get back to reality. And where the dreaming of a career, oh, I love being with horses, and being with horses is for me, is so fulfilling, and that's the emotional side of things. So for you, I guess a logical one would be, now I feel so much better, I can go back to work. That would be a more logical reason why they would go to you. I can go to TJ, and it costs me a lot less money to go to TJ than it is for me to go to the hospital in the emergency room. That would be a logical one. An emotional one would
Where emotional would be I can get my life back. Do you want to get your life back? Like when someone told us, "You've given me my life back."
That's a very emotionally charged reason to go see you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel light as a feather. That the one comment that you had, that I feel light as a feather. She knew what I needed before. I mean, I didn't even know it. When I left, I felt so good. That's more on the emotional side. Much more on the emotional side. I know it's kind of hard. Some of them are both. And
I'm
that's
looking at
fine.
this, and most of them are all emotional.
What's
They're
that?
mostly all emotional. I'm looking at this. The only thing I can think of is by what I tell people is that I work to get you better so that you don't have to keep spending your money on therapies or doctors.
That's logical.
Yeah, that's what I tell people.
Yeah. And can you see, people will go to you for you. Usually they're much more motivated from the emotion side of it, but then they need that logical side in order to justify it, and make them feel like, yeah, okay, I can do this, or I can really spend. Usually it's like, oh, they need to have the logical box in order to get the checkbook out, like for horses, doing PMF for horses. The emotional thing is, oh, my horse feels so much better. I feel when my horse does this, you can tell he just absolutely loves it. And then when I ride him, oh my God, my horse feels so great. And the emotional side of it is, well, my vet bills have been reduced by 30%. I mean, the vet bill ones, that's the logical thing. I've reduced my vet bills by 30%, and now I don't need to inject my horse, for, except once a year. Those are like the logical things. Is that making sense now?
Yeah.
So the whole idea is for you to really have this list of benefits for you, and not to rule them out, but to know what they are so that you can really logically and methodically plug them in the right places where they're going to do the most good. Like logical things are really good things to have at the end of the funnel, because again, people are trying to find a reason to make up their mind. You know, they've already made it up on the emotional side. Now they're trying to find those logical reasons that yes, I should get my checkbook out and do this.
Like like trying to sell it to, advertising it, and if you're trying to appeal to the people side of that, would an emotion be, are you tired of the constant hamster wheel of prescription pills and, taking a pill to make a symptom better, and then it creates another symptom, you take another pill. So, but if you do you can save a bunch of money and actually get healthy by doing the PMF.
That's logical.
I mean,
you just rattled off a whole bunch of logical.
The money. Yeah, saving money. But so what would, I guess I'm trying to figure out what the emotional side of that would be.
The emotional side of that is that I feel so good that I've got my life back and now I can do the things that I enjoy.
Okay. Gotcha.
And which do you think is more motivating for people? Now, keep in mind, they do need both.
Absolutely, but I think it's the emotion that hooks them. I mean, that's what catches them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's if you can reach in and get the emotion of somebody. That's why, TJ, I was really saying you really want to make sure that you stay connected with your authentic self, because that's the one that's where you're really going to connect with somebody. On the logical side, you're just going to help them make the decision, but most of the time it's already been made, but they're just trying to make that decision, or they're trying to justify it to their spouse, their boss, their logical self, So you do need a balance of them, but it's important to understand, and it is a hard exercise. That's why I was really trying to get to this. It is a hard exercise to try to understand which ones. Like, I'll give you an idea. So when we first wrote our funnel, I printed out all of our emails and I put them on the wall, and I had somebody do this. Is like, oh, TJ disappeared.
I'm here.
I put them on the wall, and I put an L or an E next to each benefit as I went down. And I didn't realize this, but like, I guess I'm a lot more a logical person. It was like logical. And then Sherry gets a hold of it and she like rewrites it. And this is kind of the way that we work. I write something up and then Sherry rewrites it. And then Sherry like added in all these emotional things. And it really wasn't until we started adding the emotional benefits when we really started getting traction. So that's why I'm really, really aware that what your bias is affects what you give out. And it's very important to have a balanced approach rather than, more based on what you think. If you're very logical, you're going to have to work at being emotional. If you're very emotional, you're going to have to work a little harder at finding the logical ones.
Right. And if you look at my website, it's totally logical. There's very little emotion in it. So I have to rewrite the copy and the whole bit. And hopefully you and Sherry will be available on some other kind of work other than, well, I'll email you. I'll email you.
Yeah.
Because I had, but yeah, there was a person who I turned down for a massage yesterday because I wasn't interested just for like a cheap Swedish massage. I'm like, that's not what I do. And so he wanted to know if I focused on the glutes and hamstring areas. And I told him that my work was different from a typical massage, that intuition played a major role in what I personally do. Then all the techniques I've learned to help the body handle life with ease is the next major role in what I do. I have natural and learned skills to listen to where your body is struggling in that specific moment that day. That's my starting point. Then for the next 55 to 70 minutes, I continue listening to help the body obtain as much ease as I can in that amount of time. And then he writes, I wish I had seen you yesterday. So
Isn't it amazing? TJ,
Yeah.
I have to say that this is like, to me, I think, I hope you're as excited as I am, because I think this is a complete breakthrough for you, because you were writing things from a logical standpoint in your business and your clients. You can see it from your clients' standpoint, their testimonials, and now you explaining it to me like this, I can see your business is really way on the emotional side. It's intuitive.
Right.
It is woo-wooey, but there's science to it. But it really is going to appeal to somebody who is appreciating the more intuitive approach rather than the more logical approach.
But there's a lot of science behind it if you've studied Dr. Barrow and Dr. Upledger, who are osteopaths who have brought this therapy to us. So there is a lot of medical, logical, yeah.
Which you gave away in your
Can
website.
I just say something?
So, go ahead, Sherry.
I just wanted to say something. So it was very interesting in us doing PMF, and you know, so Veronica and Renee were doing PMF. Deb, you're doing yoga, you're doing craniosacral. So these are all alternative medicines, really, or alternative healing things.
Right.
And the reality is 90% of people that are going to be drawn to this are woo-woo people.
We have a visitor.
Who's that?
Oh, John. He's the wise garden gnome. He's the wise garden gnome. John.
Does that have some meaning that we need to be aware of?
Is that Sherry?
Yeah.
Hi, Sherry.
He's
Hi,
breaking
Sherry.
in the wisdom of the gnome.
Oh, hi, Renee.
He's breaking in the wisdom.
Oh, hi.
When we,
All right, Sherry, tell us what that's all about, would you?
well, when we were on our big hike, our Tour de Mont Blanc, and we went through Switzerland and these amazing little villages. Honest to God, I don't know if any of you have spent much time in Switzerland in like the small villages. There are gnomes everywhere. They literally have garden gnomes everywhere. I mean, like some of them have like so many of them. You can't even believe it. And so we just would laugh so hard, and we took so many pictures, and we were like, gosh, you know, maybe we should have garden gnomes, you know,
and they're really cute.
Maybe they're bringing like good energy and stuff. And they're like really cute. And so I was somewhere, and it was for Christmas. And I show them the little package that it's in, and I found the little wise garden gnome, and so I gave it to John to remind him of the wisdom of the gnome on our trip. But so see, it's in this little
house.
it's his little house that he lives in. And
good night.
So he sits on John's desk and gives him encouragement and inspiration. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, I'm going to say something that, and I'm just, is that, okay, like I have a whole bunch of thoughts I want to share. One of them is that, first of all, probably 90% of the people, like I started saying, that are going to even consider an alternative therapy are on the woo-woo-y side, number one. That doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't do therapy on oh my God, what is her name? The lady who has the PhD from MIT, and what is her name, John?
Yeah,
What is her name?
I can't think of it now.
I don't know, it just went out of my head. But I literally ended up doing PEMF therapy on a lady who had a PhD from MIT and turned out to be a head scientist of 200 or 300 scientists developing pharmaceuticals. Okay. Okay, I didn't know this when she walked into my tent at the American Gold Cup in New York, in upstate New York. She was an amateur equestrian who was there, but through talking to her and giving her my explanation of what PMF therapy is, which is of course a pretty simplified version, I ended up finding out from her. Well, first of all, this was day one. I did not know anything about the MIT or the scientists or any of that.
And she
But I
kind of
did find out that she lives in Connecticut. She kind of hit it. Yeah, she did. She commuted. Now she was in her mid-50s, and she commuted from Connecticut to New York City. And by the time she would get to New York City, her body was so stiff and sore that she couldn't get out of the car. That literally, that she was so much stiffness and pain. And so she sat in the chair and I gave her a session. Well, she comes back the next day and she wanted to know about this, and she wanted to know if we could do this on her horse because she had never this great people. So I end up saying something like, well, so what do you do or whatever? And she sheepishly shares with me, that her life and her husband's life, I mean, they both were like major players in the pharmaceutical world. And her words were to me, I thought I was going to be in this pain for the rest of my life. Okay. Now, again, this is someone whose job is creating pharmaceuticals. So then I sheepishly asked her, what did you think of my explanation of PEMF? And she said, it made total sense. It made total sense. Well, she ended up buying a PEMF system for herself and her horse. And I share this because there's someone who was completely scientific. Okay, you could not get more scientific than that. She was in pain and wanted to find a way to get out of pain. Okay, she really the science. I mean, the second day she kind of was like, "Tell me again how this works." But the science didn't mean as much to her as the fact that she got up that next morning and felt loose and went and rode her horse and wasn't in pain. So I think sometimes you're looking a little bit too much for validation in the science. I would say we had two types of people that came into our booths. And I have to tell you, like, my first initial boot camp in PEMF was 12 weeks in an open tent at WEF, treating people all day long with the single MagnaWave loop while John was out treating the horses in the barn. And I'm telling you, if you ever wanted a boot camp of doing therapy and listening to people's pain and problems and everything, but there were people that came in and were completely.
These are people that are in the upper echelon of the financial strata and horse world. The best of the best horse world for sure, and the richest of the rich. I mean, the Onassis and I mean, it's like not minor league people.
So my point is, there were people that would come in and be very skeptical. There were people that wanted to know what it was all about. But at the end of the day, I would say more people were like, I don't care what this is. I just care that this works and it's safe, and because, we're doing something with a plugged in thing. You're just doing something with your hands. So what I'm saying to you is perhaps it comes, and I truly believed in PEMF. And I got to the point by the end of that 12 weeks that people that were skeptical, if they started rolling their eyes at me or trying to push me or whatever, I just would back away. I just would be back away and say, well, you know what, this isn't for everyone, and then I would focus on the next person that would come. And yes, there were some people that wanted to know the science, and I could say, yeah, you can go on PubMed. There's thousands of such. I've had information on that, but don't lean so much on the science. People that are looking for the solutions that you guys have are wanting to feel better. It's just that simple. They're wanting to feel better. They're wanting to be able to play tennis again or ride their horse again. They're wanting to be able to take a walk with their grandchildren. They're wanting to be able to wake up and look forward to a day without pain. They're wanting to enjoy life again. They're wanting to feel passion. They're wanting to, live their best possible life. And that is, to me, to any wellness practitioner, that should come before the science. The fact that you have science to back it up. And yeah, I would say there were 10% of the people that they wanted hard fact, they wanted science. What the heck is going on? They wanted science, And those are the people that come and sit in the chair. I'm in such pain. I haven't been able to golf. Oh my God, I went and golfed 18 holes the next day, but I'm sure it wasn't because of that, There's just going to be those kind of people. But
True stories.
I am saying the logic. True stories. The logic comes only. Again, this direct experience, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. The only place for logic is in the justification of the expense. If you want to figure out a package, if you want to compare what it would cost for other modalities that are not as effective and so forth, wanting to feel better, wanting to be healthy, wanting to get out of pain is a pure emotional thing. And that is the picture that you need to paint in your marketing. You want to give people hope. Why do people respond to testimonials so much for wellness practitioners? It gives them hope. So we are the purveyor of hope.
So let me jump in there because you're making really, really good points that I just want to follow up on. And so you notice as she's talking, she's emotion. All those things are emotion. So what you want to do, if you really want to be a little analytical about this and really get this wired in, is you want to say, okay, yeah, so these are all emotions. What is the emotion that you're trying to pull out? Okay, she just started hitting on that. Hope. So when you're looking at how do you marry a picture with this message that you're putting together, the picture should bring out that emotion that you're wanting to bring out, that you're wanting to touch. And when you can get a picture that portrays hope, and you get a message that brings out hope, you will have a magnetic message. So, Sherry, go ahead. What?
So that's why. So two things I was going to say. Remind me about the picture thing, but TJ, what I'm saying for you is, I just think you have to find this wellspring of confidence in what you're giving to people. All of us do. Just this wellspring of confidence and hope, and have the science in your back pocket, not in your front pocket. You don't, it's all like, okay, I'm just telling this from just like, it's almost like you're trying to put the validation out there first. To me, the validation are all those wonderful testimonials. There's no person there mentioning anything about, they could care less what science is behind this. All they know is that there's something magical about what TJ can do that makes me feel better. There's just something magical about what happens when I go visit with Renee and I go in that PMF chair. There's something magical when I do a yoga session with Deb and I come out of it feeling like renewed. Veronica, there's something magical that happens when they get with my horse and then my horse feels good. And then why we want our horses to feel good? Because it makes us feel good. Okay, happy wife, happy life, happy horse, happy owner, So, and then the other thing that I just wanted to share is in our Life Pulse experience, right when we started out and it just figured out our protocol and everything, we were down in the barn, Samantha with her beautiful black stallion Bagheera, and she was pulsing him. And I looked over, oh my God, I'm going to get teary. And there she was. She had the loops around Bagheera here, and she was standing, holding the loops and literally leaning her forehead on his forehead and looking into his eyes, and everything about it was just this beautiful harmony and connection and feel good. And I just got out my iPhone and started taking pictures. Well, those pictures, she just happened to have a yellow shirt on, and Sammy's beautiful and her black stallion. Those ended up to be the most successful pictures in our campaign that we then put together with our little line, Dreaming of a Career with Horses. So what did that do? It just created such emotion, because people would look at that, and either people from a standpoint of an owner were like, oh, I want my horse to feel like that. I would feel like that with my horse. People looking for a career were like, I could do that all day and have that be my job. Like I could connect with horses like that in the barn and have that be my job. So it elicited this hope and that feeling on both sides. Well, after, everything happened with Pulse Centers, they started putting these pictures out. And it was so funny because all the practitioners started coming back to us going, what the hell? Of literally like this woman standing there like this with a dark face looking down, pulsing a horse. Okay, like this is her hand on the, on the horse. So the picture had first of all, she wasn't even looking at the horse. She wasn't even looking at you. There was no emotion. As a matter of fact, you got the emotion like, God, she looks tired. She doesn't look like she likes what she's doing, And again, not even horse people. So they didn't even get how to have a horse having a happy expression, So again, and yeah, we need John, we need analytical, we need John. But when it comes to marketing and pictures that you're choosing and taglines that you're choosing, it's hope and emotion. It's hope and emotion. When you look at a picture, what do you feel? John always makes a joke that I can get people to cry, and you make people cry again. But you know what? It's just from being real. It's just from being real. So TJ, I would be willing to bet my whole entire life that you're in this because of the emotion, the way you feel providing this therapy for people, the way you feel when you see the response from those people. Okay. Renee, you've been doing this for a while with that connection with the horse. Okay. I'm willing to bet you guys are not doing this because of the science.
Oh, heck no. It has to come from the heart. I mean, the analytical.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's science behind yoga now. Go ahead, Renee.
No, I said that the emotion that comes from the heart and the soul part of why we do what we do. And it, yeah, we need the analytical, but that only goes as deep as the thick skull does. But the emotion part is what reaches inside and grabs somebody's heart and soul and pulls them into what you're doing. And no, this is good
Yeah.
because when I looked at my list, it was very logical, and I'm an emotion person, and I'm like, God, how do I pull the emotion into it? But this is wonderful. I mean, absolutely. Just
Well, can I share something with you guys? I was raised in a family that no one ever had gone to college before. In my wonderful family, but ethnic Polish background, and I was just expected to be a mom and get married, and I'm very emotional. My brother teased me that I'm an airhead my whole life and everything, and so I never thought of myself as a business person. Never ever thought of myself or even allowed myself. And I think as women, that's something else that we feel like, oh, we have to put this out there that I know the science, or I have credentials, and what's been interesting in this journey with John and I is through all the businesses and things we've done, we've ended up being a total team. And my emotion ends up to be as powerful and important as his strategies and his logic. Okay. And so I think that just happens as practitioners. We're finding our confidence in ourselves and our message. And it's very, it's very scary to be that intimate, because when we are going out there with our heart, I can't help it. I wish I could sometimes. And I've said things in meetings that John is like, I just cannot believe you said that. Only you could say that in those meetings. But it's just because I can't help it. I'm honest, and I'm raw, and I'm emotional. I cry at Hallmark commercials. It's just who I am, So I cry 10 times a day. So I can't hide it if I try, but I have tried that. When I started out at those 12 weeks at WEG, I know that feeling of what I'm doing is real and there's science behind it and everything. But in the end, by the end of that 12 weeks, I got the most clients from sitting and just talking to people, and then them doing my therapy, and then bringing other people in. And literally by the end of it, our PMF lounge became like this gathering place for people.
She had Kevin Babington crying.
What?
I said she had Kevin Babington crying. This Irish show writer that's been a legend and an idol for her. She sat there, and many people, as she was treating them, just talking and bringing out the stories of their life, would get them crying. I'd walk in after treating a horse, and there's just some major, Olympic rider sitting there, they're sharing a moment and crying and stuff. And so I'm like, what the hell? But she pulled out the emotion, and that is what was really powerful. It's what sold. It was what worked, and it's what connected them to the to us and the experience. So, if you
the therapy.
And the therapy, yeah. But so the point really is that that's really what you guys need to be looking for as you're doing this. The mechanics part of it and everything is definitely important. The logic part of it is supporting. The science part of it is a supporting part of it. But yeah, it's that emotion. It's that, if you can just really get at that core emotion of your client, then you've got gold. That's the goal.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm always trying to be a salesperson, because look at the facts of this, and that's so kind of goes against my grain. I really have to work it. It's not usually very hard for me to find emotion either, but I need to start flipping that and work off the emotion side and not so much trying to be a salesperson, because I'm not a salesperson.
And you don't have to be. And it's all about stories, and it can be, and that's why I always, like with our practitioners, I always suggested we all follow each other's Facebook pages, because you see their success stories, and it doesn't matter what your therapy or what you're doing is. You see other people's success stories you can use as your own. You don't have to say, oh, I had this success, but you can say, oh, another cranial sacral person, another yoga instructor doing what I was doing had this result. And people, and the other thing that I often shared, is, that just ability to go up and talk to somebody about your doing can seem very daunting. But if you just for a moment, still yourself and put yourself in that other person's shoes and think, wow, if I had that need and I was going through that, would I want somebody to be able to explain this, share this with me for myself or my horse? And yeah, wouldn't the answer be yeah? I mean, I think I have to share with you guys something else really quickly. As part of the research of what we're doing, and we're just in the process of just really trying to hone in our own message, I've been going through a huge website of mostly craniosacral therapists, okay? And looking at them and what they do. And you want to know the most amazing thing is there's these profiles on them. And the most amazing thing is, I would say at least 50% of the people were doing craniosacral therapy because of the amazing impact it had on their life, on either their own wellness due to injuries or illness, or a family member's. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away by how many of these people led with that story. And I think that was very powerful for John and I, because our 30-year back pain, so we would just lead with that story, and how we were like, I don't know how more people don't know about this. We decided to make this our life because we couldn't believe more people didn't know about this. Craniosacral therapy, I had not heard about it until recently. And now me doing this research and seeing all this, I'm like, how did I not know about this before? This is amazing. This is like amazing. And one of the things I read is that somebody said the pressure is no more than that of a nickel. Is that true, TJ? That the weight of a nickel, that the pressure?
However, yes. But here, in talking to Lisa Upledger, who's Dr. John's widow, I've had this conversation with her. Many craniosacral therapists will sit there with that 5 grams of pressure, okay, which is the weight of a nickel. And they will just sit there, and it becomes like doing Reiki almost. Sometimes the pressure, okay, here's what it is that a person can have a restriction, and you meet the pressure of that restriction, which could be 10 pounds, and then you add 5 grams. So it's just like when you're riding a horse and that pressure on that mouth, on the reins. Sometimes, depending upon what's happening, your hand pressure on those reins is strong and tight and 5 pounds. And then you have to ease up to 2 pounds. And then you have to add 3 pounds. Absolutely. So this is what a lot of therapists don't get, is how you have to meet the restriction and then add 5 grams. It's not a constant 5 grams of pressure. They teach that. And they also teach in class. They talk about meet the restriction and add 5 grams. I've had instructors say it can be 10 pounds of pressure, but then you add 5 grams. But so many craniosacral therapists.
What I'm just saying is I was amazed by that explanation of it. And I was amazed by the stories of these different practitioners. And so they all led with emotion. They all led with their life and, you know, led into all their education. I think and then there were people that started their story with, I've got this course and this, and I've got these letters behind my name, and I've got all that. I didn't want to read the rest of what they said. You see what I'm saying? But the ones who
Right.
started with their great story made me want to keep reading. It was impactful. It was interesting. So if you don't think of it as sales and you think of it as storytelling, which humans, that's, you know, that's the most basic form of communication is storytelling. And the reality is we're all salesmen all day long, every day of our life. We're all trying to persuade, you know, I'm trying to persuade Oliver to get his shoes on so we can get to school on time. And I'm trying to persuade the horse to come through the gate. And I'm trying to, you know, persuade the dog to not come in the house because she just rolled in the mud. And so, you know, we're always persuading. And yeah, if you saw Zuzu right now, you literally can only see her eyes. She's on the deck, John, because she rolled in the mud so bad. But so that's interesting that you say that, because it's, being a salesperson is not a bad thing. It's gotten a bad rap, but the reality is we're selling ourselves all day, every day to our family members and our friends, you know, and so you kind of need to let that go, and you need to let go of this, ooh, I've got to be a business person. Thank God for people who create systems and all this stuff that we need, because like without John, we'd never get anywhere on time and, you know, stuff like that, you know. But lead with the emotion. I'm just because I just had this experience of reading through these profiles of these therapists, and it's just so funny. I didn't even think about it until we started talking. The ones who started with, I am so passionate about craniosacral therapy because of what it did in my own life, I'd be like, oh, or it was a catastrophic car accident that brought me to craniosacral therapy, or my mom's own life was this stuff and not paying attention, and I'd end up reading those stories. It would get my attention. So I think I made my point. I don't know, Veronica, you're awfully quiet today. What are you thinking of all this?
Well, the same thing. And we had like one girl that had migraines really bad, and she came for about 3 months, and she said she's never had a drink, she's never done anything, and she kept pimping, and went back to a neurologist, took her off her nausea and medicine, and she came back. She was, they took me off my medicine. I said, well, good. She kept coming. I said, just keep coming, see how it goes. She had fever one day. She said, I'm getting the flu. I said, well, come in and pimp, and then go home and just rest, and don't come in for until next week. She came in and she was so emotional. She sat there. She goes, Veronica, you guys don't know what you guys have done for me. She goes, I was able to go out my birthday and have a drink. You haven't had a drink in I don't know how long. She said, the other thing, she goes, I've been poked, probed in every orifice of my body. And she goes, and this is the only thing that has taken my migraines away. So she has not had a migraine in a long time.
That's great.
So those,
Now see, gave her life back, right? You gave her life back, right? I want to just go have a drink with a friend. I want to be able to go through my day without a migraine.
Yes.
So I hope that you've asked her for some sort of testimonial, or to do a review on your Facebook page, or you know, or even just write up your own version of that story.
Yes. Well, we're gonna write to.
Go ahead,
I
Ron.
haven't been able to get a hold of her. She feels so good. I haven't got her back yet, and she just got married too. So
That's
she's
fine.
in another time. But I figure if it starts coming back, she's gonna come back. You know, so I'm not worried about it. She knows where we are.
But I will say we had an unbelievable migraine stopping experience with a young woman at a horse show. That also, this was at a horse show where we were traveling, so I couldn't get her testimonial. I just sat down and wrote the story. I just said, this was an experience we had, and I wrote out the story, and I did Facebook posts on it, and I had it on our website. So you can do that too. You know, you can again, write the story of an experience, or of another practitioner's experience. And, but again, emotion.
Yes.
So let's
And,
go through this. We're quickly running out of time because we've got at least a half hour of stuff on the technical side, and I do want to go through these 4 emails and just go through the outline of that and see if you guys have any questions, or if, just to make sure you're all clear on it. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go and look at these. Let's see. Can you guys see that?
Barely.
Make it a little bigger.
maybe make that your screen that like bigger. Oh, okay.
There you go. That's good.
Is that better?
There.
Yes.
For all us blind people.
All right. So email one is all about the journey or the opportunity. This is the why. And again, the first email, you really want to have this email be the most inclusive, because most likely this is the one that they're going to read. And so you want to get your story out, but you really want to tell your full story. So if you want to have each email be kind of, so if you just read that one email, you would have the majority of what you want to tell them, but they kind of come at them from different angles. So this angle is all about the journey. You want to tell them about the opportunity to solve their core pain. Okay. And this is a great one, like Sherry was saying, about telling your story and how you help them solve their pain. And this really should be as unsalesy as possible, because this is where you really want to be making that emotional connection. And you want to be teaching on a very high level on how the service works and who can benefit. So, the big thing that you should be getting across by the end of this is really why they should be listening to you and what your unique benefit is. And really, at the end of this email, you should have pulled some emotional strings with them that say, boy, there is hope for me to get out of pain by doing this. And maybe they are thinking about it in a way that they've never thought about it before, or you're giving them some information that they have not had before. With PMF, it was easy because most people didn't understand about PMF. But it was funny because most of our email funnels, the next email would be all about PEMF. And this first email, which I called the welcome email, would be the most read. And then all about PMF would be absolutely by far the least read. So, in this, you want to go really light on anything technical. You really want to be talking about their benefits, their emotions, their why for doing this, how they're going to feel afterwards. So, and then at the end, you want to open up and tell what's coming in email too. And every single one of these, you want to have a call to action. A call to action is when you're explicitly telling them to do something. And this one, a really good one to do to get them engaged and get them more involved in the conversation, is to go to your Facebook page and you got to tell them, give you a like. So go to my Facebook page, put a link there and say, give me a like on that. And that then really keeps them coming and getting them another dose of what you're all about. So that's email one. And the whole key of this, and really good writing in general, is what soap operas do, is that they open up a loop. And you know, how does soap operas do it? That keeps you coming back. You know, they say, oh well, they give you a little glimpse of, first off, they solve the problem that was originally going to happen, and then they put out another problem that, oh, you just got to see how they get solved this next problem. So you want to open up the loop for the next email and give them, you know, a little teaser on what's coming, but, you know, don't answer it. So that's email one. Email one is really the absolute most important. Like I said, that's one that most people are going to read. So here is email two. And this really should flow together all like one great big conversation. But email two is all about the transformation. If email number one was the why, email number two is the what. You know, what is it that you're doing? So you want to start out by thanking them and for joining you, and then recapping the opportunity, just doing a very brief recap of what it is that you're trying to solve. What's their core problem, their core pain that you are solving, and then what's your unique benefit in solving that pain. And then it's a good time to really present a case study or some real teaching on your protocol, or a great story. So the first one you led with your story. Now this is one of your, you know, probably most compelling case studies. So, and it doesn't seem like we get, like TJ, you're saying you don't have a lot of objections and stuff, but if there's an obvious objection that usually comes out now, this is where you really want to handle that objection in the best way that you can. Now, if you don't really have a known objection that you could really point to, you could leave that off. But if there's something that's, you know, if there's the big 800-pound gorilla in the room that nobody wants to talk about, it's always best to let's get it out, talk about it now, use your best language on how you overcome that objection. The objection that for PMF machines, selling PMF machines, was always price. Oh my God, I don't have that kind of money. That's way too much money. How can I possibly afford that? And then you want to foreshadow email number three, and then end with a good testimonial, another good testimonial. So you're going to have two good testimonials in this, and pictures are always really good to have in there. And then a call to action. And a call to action on this one could be, you know, visit your website and sign up for your newsletter. Now, if you don't have a newsletter, or you don't have a website and a newsletter, then I would, one thing you really want to get them to do is you want them to reply, and you want them to add your email to their address book. Because if you can do that, then your emails have a much higher chance of actually getting to them and getting into their inbox as opposed to their spam folder. So another good call to action would be, if you don't have a website, is, hey, email me back and tell me, you know, if you have one of these problems, or if you have, you know, something that is going to help you bond. Are you share in this problem? You know, so get them to, you know, find a compelling way for them to share something with you in a reply. You want to get them to hit the reply. One of the biggest mental triggers in ways to position you as an authority is if you can get them to do things. So if you're a doctor and they're in your office, you want to get them to move around. I want you to go from this office to that office. I want you to fill this out. I want you to start doing things for me. If you can get them to do things for you, those are all minor closes and get you closer and closer to them getting out their credit card. So those are things you really, really want to work on. Now, email 3 is the ownership experience. This is the how. And so you want to open up with thanks and and some excitement that they're still with you. They're still reading your emails. And so you want to recap the opportunity because there's a good chance that this may be their first email that they've seen from you. So you don't want to just jump right into the conversation without providing any kind of background. And so you want to bring them up to speed if they haven't read your emails or if it's been a little while. Then you want to give a nice short case study that is going to, in all these case studies, you really want them to be leading them to your specific unique benefit. Okay, this is a really good way. Like, for example, so in PEMF, the unique benefit that Pulse Centers had on, and I'm just having to think of this as, off the top of my head, but the unique benefit that Pulse Centers had over the competition was their double loops. So the case study that I would then offer is how this particular horse got great results because of the double loops. Now, you don't have to be saying that bringing out the fact that the double loops, are only for Pulse Centers, but you have to be saying is that in order to get these results, you needed the double loops. So it just brings them back to your unique benefit and basically pushes your competition out. So like for TJ, I would be saying like, the way that they got some great results was because of the intuitive nature of your treatment, that you were able to pick up something that they didn't even know they had. And so they're not going to get that from somebody else. So that's a short case study that really brings them along and reinforces your unique benefit. And then they want them to answer the top questions that most people have. You're going to find as you go through this that there are these same questions that people always ask. So this is where you really want to answer those questions. And it's sort of, it's like the stepsister to handling objections. This is handling all these questions that people have. If you can answer some of the big questions that they have, and then you follow it up with your big promise. If you think about your modality and what you do, and you can boil it down to a big promise, this is like the big benefit that they're going to get received from solving their core pain. For most people in PEMF, it was, oh my God, you have given me my life back. That was the big promise by far. And we heard people say that over and over and over again. And so when you can bring that kind of, and that's fully charged with emotions, it's also it's got some logic to it. But if you can bring that big promise in at this point in the game, you are really going to be moving them forward in a big way. So this is where you really want to really state that big benefit and then explain how you make that happen. Just, you don't want to get in, you don't want to follow up the big promise and have them in this really great emotional state and then bring them back into the nitty gritty of your process, because it will automatically change their mind from going from their emotional self, which is all now charged, to back into their logical self and trying to figure out, oh, is this really going to work for me? So you just want to give them really a high level of how your big promise can work for them. Okay? So just briefly explain how it works. Like how many sessions, or exactly what your process is, and then after your process, how they will feel. Now, you don't want to be telling them how it's going to feel. What you want to do is you want to position it so that they will figure out how they'll feel. Okay. So by a great thing about saying you will give them their life back, you're not telling them, oh, I'm going to give you your life back so you can garden more, because, oh, well, I'm not really a gardener. They'll fill in that part. What you want to do is you want to tell them how they're going to feel. Oh, they're going to feel great, and then try to position it so they fill in those blanks. And then they start visualizing what their life is going to be like when their core problem is solved. And then a good way to reinforce that is then to add one or two more good testimonials that support this feeling. And then, so now you've got them really in this state of like really thinking this is possible. I've got all kinds of hope. I'm picturing how I'm going to feel now that I don't have this pain. And I'm seeing how that, that you are really going to be able to do this for them. And then you want to preview that the next email that you're going to be sending them is going to have a way that they can get involved with this, and that there's going to be a special offer that you're going to give them. And there's a lot of different ways that you can position that, but a good way to do that is just by saying, just thanking them for continuing to be on this journey with them, and that as a special thank you, I'm gonna make an offer in my next. And you really can tell them in my next email, I'm going to tell you how we can go on this journey together, and I'm going to give you some special, offers. There's all kinds of different ways that you can put it, and you don't want to really narrow it down to discounts, because there's so many other things that you really could be doing for them that don't really involve money. And at this point in time, you really don't want to get them focused on money at all anyway. So you just want them to really, you want to open up that loop that, hey, there's something good that's coming in the next offer, and it's really going to show you how we can get you the core problem solved. So, and then email number 4, this is the offer. This is where you put something in front of them that is going to help motivate them to, if they're ready, to make a decision to engage with you and be a client. And it's saying 80% of them might not have read the other emails, so you do have to go back and recap what their core pain is, how you uniquely solve it, and just take out the best of your best in the last 3 emails and put it in the beginning here, so that you're recapping and getting them up to speed if they didn't read the other emails. So, and then you really want to tell them very specifically how they can be your client, what your process is, tell them what your best clients have said, and then give them an incentive to act now. And that incentive then needs to go away if they don't act within a really pretty short amount of time. And it can be a discount, it can be extra services, it can be really anything that will help them get what they want faster, better, or all of that. So if their call to action on this is if they're ready to get started, then they need to call or email or however you want them to engage with you. I've found that, I mean, things have changed over the last 5 years even. People just don't like getting on the phone anymore. They will email you, and so really the easiest way for them to re-engage with you is just to hit the reply button. And if they hit the reply button and then they ask you a question or they say, hey, I'm interested, then you know, okay, this person is engaging with me. If they're engaging with you, then they are a real prospect. And the people are much more likely, if they're emailing you, they're much more likely, if you can get a dialogue going, then they're much more likely to take that next step, whatever that next step is for you. Calling you up and making an appointment, stopping in, emailing you, whatever it is that is going to get them engaged. And then if there are some big objections that you're commonly hearing, put them out there. Here are the top 2 or 3 big objections that you typically hear, and you can do this in a very positive way so that they almost are like testimonials. You know, this person had this objection, but after being treated by me, they they got these kind of results, and they ended up feeling this way, and then you want to really restate your benefits and make this like bullet points. These are the main benefits that you offer, and these are the ways to become your client, because you will not be amazed at how many people will actually just go right down to this bottom section, and that's all they're going to read. So take some time and make it really, really very brief, but yet very succinct in what your benefits are and how that you will help them, and what the offer is right there, and what the benefit is to acting in that offer right now. And that's your 4 emails. So that's the basic outline for these 4 emails. Now, this is just a format, but it's also a format that has really been tested, and literally like hundreds of millions of dollars of products have been sold on this very format. So do you guys have questions on this?
Is this going to be posted?
I emailed you so yeah, you should have gotten it in a couple different ways. I emailed you a link to the shared drive.
Okay.
I think there is a Word document on below. Right now there's a Word document on the portal, and I believe there's a link to the shared drive on the portal. So,
okay.
And then I also emailed you my welcome series, which really doesn't follow this format, mainly because it's a different type of thing. But I just wanted you to see, this is not my my welcome series. Mine is really taking and educating the customer and taking them through the buying stages. So this 4 email series is a really defined product launch formula that has been tested over and over and over again, and is really good for taking someone quickly through the process and through those 3 stages, and then giving them an incentive. So, and it is a format, so there's plenty room for you to put your unique twists on it. And if something doesn't feel right for you, then you can add things, take things away. But if you stick to this format at least the first go around, you're not going to be too far off the mark. And then you'll really watch and see which ones are getting opened, which ones are getting deleted and which ones are getting replied to. So we do have some videos on exactly how to automate this and the actual ways of doing the technical part of it. So I want to get to that. But do you guys have any questions on this format?
No?
Nope. Okay. So with your list of all your benefits and everything, you should be able to start looking through this thing and going, okay, you know, where can I start plugging stuff into this? And that's kind of a really good way to write this, is that you start plugging in those, copy and pasting those benefits right into this outline, and then from there you can you know, like call to action, plug in the call to action, testimonial, plug in a testimonial, and then you just start adding transitions to it. And you'll see I found that it's a whole lot easier to write this way than it is to start with a blank piece of paper. So what do you think?
I think it's very beneficial, and I'm excited to try to find a time to sit down and get this done. I'm a little bit behind from last week's session, so by the time we get to next Wednesday, I'm hoping to be completely caught up with my 4 emails written, which I want to send to you for your critique before they're even sent out, just for like what you know, just your critique, what you and Sherry think. But I think it's really good. One of the things, though, that I will say that I'm a little concerned about is the incentive to act now, that if this goes away, they won't act upon it. And the reason that concerns me a little bit is because this template is so widely used. And yes, it is effective. I have to be candid and say that I was a little, and I hate to use the word since Sherry pointed out it's so negative, I was a little bit overwhelmed and exasperated when I got the email from you for your next big series, and this hasn't even been completed yet, and I was behind, or I am behind on completing this, which completely, just for your own information, turned me off, just completely saying, well, I'm not even ready to begin something else right now. I've got so much on my plate. And it was like there was no time between this course and the next course that you were offering. So I don't want to do that to someone that I would be wanting to attract for a client on a consistent basis, because I don't want them to feel pressured. And it kind of gives me a bit of a concern that it's a hard advertising sale and trick that, okay, here's my offer, but you're not going to get this in 4 days. It's going to be gone. So I don't know what to do about that because I'm not really comfortable with it.
No, that is a really good point, because I really never that much in favor of scarcity as a buyer. You know, it's like, I really don't. First off, most of the scarcity is fake. The scarcity is doing the courses. It's like, okay, we can only start the courses once every 8 weeks. So that part of it, you know, for us, it's like, we got to try to motivate people to do this now. But I really don't like discounting as a whole. I would really probably prefer not to discount at all and not to do any scarcity at all, and just kind of let we didn't do a lot as far as PMF sales to go. We didn't really do a lot of discounting, but when we did, it was really powerful. So it was like, it's like you put this offer out to people
Yeah.
and you think they're going to buy when they want to buy, but then you give them, a discount and they end up like people just get off the fence. So it's kind of like those things. It's like,
That is,
it's never really been a big one of the things that I really like for selling technology. This is one of the things I absolutely hated was selling for IBM and Xerox. It goes through these quarterly fire drills where at the end of every quarter, you just go and give the store away to try to get every single person that you can possibly think about, any prospect that's on the fence to buy now. And what you end up doing is discounting things that, in a month, they were probably going to be ready anyway, that you didn't have to discount at all. And then you throw out this great big discount and do all this high pressure tactics, and then they would end up buying. So it was kind of always really, really, to me, I just really did not like that whole game. But it is really effective for a large part of people. They like to get a deal and they like to feel like, oh gosh, if I don't get this, I'm going to miss out on something. Now, the problem with being a practitioner is, though, that people that are in pain, they have their own they have their really own motivations. It's not like they're buying something that is like, oh, I could take it or not leave it. If someone's in pain, they really want to know that they can come to you and they can get, like you were saying, you get the best TJ no matter what. I'm always going to be here for you, and this is my price, and this is the way I do things, and that is a really, really sound business. So if the discounting thing and the offer is not feeling good for you, don't do it. But the other thing is that you want to do is you really want to make sure that you give them a very clear way of doing business with you. Okay. So,
Well,
sorry,
I just
Sherry,
thought
go
of
ahead.
something.
Sherry.
Can I say
just
something?
two things on that? Is that I think that even people in pain sometimes need a motivator to act. People, a rut is a very comfortable place to be. And you don't have to you could do is you have your normal prices, but you could, for a limited time, you're offering a package deal. You're offering a package where there's a discounted price, or you're offering a new client special, for my new clients nobody is offended by that, and everybody loves a package.
Sherry, you dropped off.
I'm not sure where I dropped off.
You were talking about a new client. Your computer.
I'm sorry. That having, like, the month of May, I'm having a new client special where there's some type of a discounted price for new clients, or perhaps, like I said, it's offering a package deal. Like, I'm going to offer a package of 10 sessions for this kind of price. I just really think, TJ, you got to just start thinking of this more of being creative. It's being creative. It's coming up with creative ways to give people incentives to get up off their butt and come into your office. Because I'm just telling you, even if, like, it could be like, wow, I've been hearing about this TJ and what she can do, but people, I just was hearing a whole thing on Alan Cohen. I don't know if you guys listen to Hay House Radio. It's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. And Alan Cohen was just talking today about, why people don't change from uncomfortable situations. It's because our brains are literally wired to not change. We're wired to not change. I mean, we could not function if our brains were not wired to not change. That's how we don't have to think every little mundane task, right? because our brain's like, oh, this is how we do things. This is how I go and I brush my teeth in the morning, and this is how I make my tea in the morning, and this is how I drive my car. It becomes automatic pilot. Well, it's the same thing with pain or being in, like, people in bad relationships. Well, this is what I know. The devil I know is better than the one I don't. People, pain is the biggest motivator to get people to change, but even pain becomes comfortable. So
Well, the other thing
I
about
just don't
that,
want you to think of this as being salesy or being, let me just finish. Like, and for us, by the way, we have to sell more courses so we can eat. You know, we got to keep these courses going. So there's got to be another course next month. You know? So I'm just trying to help you think about this in a different way. It's more of a creative way to get your service to people and get them to act, to call you, to email you, to come into your office.
Sherry, the other thing is that, you know, as a practitioner, you have a limited amount of time. You have a limited amount of bandwidth, you know, that, you know, this month you may be looking for more clients. So you run a promotion, and the promotion is designed to bring people in the door. Well, you may run such a great promotion that, you know, all of a sudden, okay, I don't have any more room for any more clients, and I have to stop that promotion. And at that point in time, you really don't want any more clients. So there really is, and you will see as your marketing gets more and more successful, you're going to get to the point where you're going to be like, I can only run this for a very short period of time, because once I get, you know, X amount of more clients, I'm full. And the people that are responding to that and that are looking at that are like, you know, what you don't want to have happen is them say, God, if I had known that I needed to respond in the next 2 days to get in on this thing, I would have done that. And I hear that all the time. I like, oh, if I had known this sale was going to end, or if I had known, you know, the pricing was going to go up, or the opportunity was going to change, I would have acted. And so that's really what your offer is all about. It's you're saying, here's the offer as it is right now, but it's not going to be forever, because as practitioners, you know, hopefully will get to the point where you don't need to discount, or you don't need to put up a special promotion, or you want to raise your prices, or you get to the point where you're full, you know.
Now, John, could you put in there something that, like for the
absolutely, like your only discount to get things going. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that.
Go ahead, Veronica.
Can you put something in there like the first, you know, depending how many clients you're trying to get in, the first 50 or 75, you know, clients get the special deal, they call in and they have this much time.
You can, but if you put a number on it like that, it's not nearly as effective, because then they'll say, you know, it doesn't. And the other thing is, you want to try to be as specific as possible, but don't make it based on like other people. If you say, oh, well, for the first 50 people that come in, that come in, and then 3 months later you're still running it, you know, that's not going to be a very good thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Versus it's a limited time and it's good for only 2 weeks. You go the 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks, you have to stop the promotion. You know, whatever the promotion is, you have to end it when it ends. Now, you can pick it back up again down the road a little bit, but you do need to stick to your guns as far as what the promotion is. And in a lot of ways, so, you know, it really makes sense, because if you run a promotion and it was great and all of a sudden now you're filled up, yes, you want to have that come to a close. But if you run a promotion and it wasn't that great, well, you're going to want to change it again. You know, you're going to want to think up a new promotion, because that one really didn't work. So you want to have things go for a short period of time, make the offer. And now, if discounting doesn't really work for you, and for a lot of practitioners, it really doesn't. But what you can offer them is a new client package. You know, right now I am accepting new clients that may not be going on forever. And this new package includes, you know, an initial consultation, you know, package pricing, whatever it is that really, you know, you think will be attractive for a new client and that will help you attract new clients. So that's really where the offer is, and scarcity is a double-edged sword. Sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
And the thing I wanted to add, and I have to look up an article that I had written for our practitioners about discounting, is the thing about discounting is it's like a fine-edged sword. That's why you have to do it as a limited time thing. Because once you start lowering your prices, you can't necessarily go back, but you can offer a limited time discount. The other thing that I always encouraged our practitioners was not always discounting. So think about this, you guys, but adding more value.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would be something you could add for more value? Now, as a PMF practitioner, what we would say, I'll treat your horse and I'll give you 15 minutes in the chair for free, okay? Or I'll treat your horse and I'll do your dog too. For you, I'm not sure what kind of other things go on, but maybe it could be this month for every practitioner, for every new client that comes in, I'm going to give a special blend of essential oils that I've created. I don't know if you're into essential oils. I'm just thinking about this just off the top of my, you know, I'm going to give everyone that comes in. Maybe you go to the dollar store and get some amazing diffusers for like $5 or something and say, you know, all my new clients in the month of May, I'm going to get my special blend of essential oils and a diffuser. That's just a, you know, off the top of my head idea. But what I'm just saying is get creative with this. Have fun with it. It's not so serious. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not so serious. And try this, it doesn't work.
People do like to get something.
My mom,
extra.
Okay, I'm going to tell. My mom loves to tell the story. Okay, my dear mom, who we're just going through such struggles with right now, is 83. And she loves to tell the story of when she was a teenager. She went to a movie and they give little bottles of perfume, Windsong perfume. She's told me the story probably 20 times in my life. And Windsong perfume. And how she, you know, and now think about that. Everybody goes to the movie, you know, I mean, but the fact, and now I'm forgetting that she even told me the movie and the different perfumes they would have different movies. I don't know. She remembers that, and she went to the movie to get that little bottle of Windsong perfume. So what is your Windsong perfume, you guys? What is something creative that you could add? And maybe it's partnering with some other practitioner of some other kind that complements yours. Like we're going to do a deal together. Or, you know, maybe it's just something really out of the box, like, you know, or just like be creative, like gardener special. You're sore from, you know, weeding that garden, and I'm going to give you all a gardener salve for your hands. I don't know. These are kind of crazy
we're running
ideas.
out of time.
Like haven't thought of. But
we're running out of time.
All I'm saying is,
videos to
get
go.
out of the box and don't make it so serious. What?
All right. So
Sorry.
we still have the two videos to go on the technical side, and we're at 9 o'clock.
Okay, I'll leave the group, and so I'm.
And
we haven't fed the horses. Okay. What? I have to go. I love you all. I have to feed the horses.
Bye, Sherry.
Bye, Sherry.
All right. So
have fun with this, you guys. It's not that serious. Have fun. How do I undo me?
All right. I'm gonna play. Oops. I thought I had this thing all set up. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Online Marketing 101's GMass tutorial. This is video 4 with Zap and GMass in Automating Your Welcome series. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through setting up an automated email series using GMass. Hi, I'm John Golitz, and congratulations, the hardest part is done. Once you've set up your Zap, you're ready to create your email automation sequence. The first step in creating the automated email series we call the Welcome series is to create the emails just as you'd like them and then email them to yourself using the GMass red button. Then next, we want to click the GMass spreadsheet button at the top of your Gmail page to connect to a spreadsheet. Choose the spreadsheet you're using with the Zap and click to connect to the spreadsheet. So once the email has launched, you want to go down here and you want to click on the GMass settings button. And then to load the content for this first email, you want to go right here to this first section in the green section and click on the drop down arrow. Now here's where the emails are that you emailed to yourself. These are the emails for the email series and email 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I just click on email 1. And as you can see behind the screen there, this is the email template that I am emailing you. So it's got the first name, hello first name, and then this is the basic outline of the first email. So for this demonstration purposes, I'm going to email you the outline template. And I've already put in my signature at the bottom, and we
Oh, I've lost the sound.
Yeah, the sound went away, John.
put in the
No
first
sound.
here. So I'm actually going to show you how you can personalize this by taking this out and leaving the cursor right there. Then you go down here and click settings, and then right there where it says personalized, you just want to click on first name, and there it goes. Now to add and unsubscribe, you go down to the bottom, and wherever you click the settings in the Gmail settings, it's going to go wherever the cursor is. So you have the cursor at the bottom, and we're going to go and click add an unsubscribe list. So now this is an unsubscribe link that they can click on, and their name goes automatically into a folder that will take them out of future mailings. Now we're going to schedule the whole series, and you just take you down the list of the things. So we've already loaded the content for email series 1, and we personalized it with the first name, and we've added an unsubscribe link to the bottom. When these boxes are checked, that means the GMass is going to track opens and clicks, and we'll get an email every time someone opens or clicks on the email. So the action that we're going to take today is to send emails, not just create drafts, and we're going to click on auto follow-up. So to set up this email auto follow-up, we want to click this box, and then we want to put the number of days. So if I put 1 day, that would mean the next email would go out tomorrow in 24 hours. And you have to pay attention to the time that you're sending it, because it will send it out in exactly 24 hours from the day that you, or from the time that you initiate this welcome series. If you want the emails to go out at 4 o'clock, you should send the first one out at 4 o'clock. That's actually the best time that I think. I would like to send these out. I'm going to send these out to you once a day. But in sending these out for the regular welcome series, I would suggest you send them out every other day. So I would make this day 2, and you want to send it out to all. Now, sending it out all, it says a little reminder box down here. It says, keep in mind that choosing all will send the follow-up email to everyone in the original campaign. If you wanted just to send this email to the people who did not reply or did not open or did not click, that's what these are for. So then so if you wanted to send this email basically to everyone until they replied or until they opened the email or until they clicked, that's what you did this for. We're going to send it to all because we want everyone to get all 4 emails. And then to show which email you send, you click this button, and then you grab and then you select email number 2. So that's now setting up and scheduling the second email in the series. Now to schedule the third, you just click on click on the button, and now so you can see it's already filled in day 4. So now this will go out on the 4th day or every other day. You click on this little button there and click email 3, and you can see if you have it all set up, it's very nice and easy. And to go to the final one, you click on the button and do the drop down for email 4. So now we have it set up. So email will go out on day 1 today, and then 2 days after, it's going to go out email number 2, and then on the 4th day, it'll be email 3. On the 6th day, it'll be email 4. All right, so here we are, all ready to send. One thing we want to make sure of is all the settings are right. So right now we have the tracking is right, the action is right, sending emails, the auto follow-up. We want to send after 1 day and send to all. And we're sending out the welcome series email 2 after 2 days. Oh, we got to change this. We want to make this to be all. And it's sending email number 3 after 3 days. We want to make that all as well. So now everything looks good, and we want to save those changes, and is waiting for GMS. All right. Now the campaign has launched, and now what if you send this out and the settings were wrong, or you want to cancel it? What you want to do is you want to go to this GMass Auto folder right here, and you want to click on that, and then you want to go, here is the actual campaign that is going out. So you want to just click on that email, and then it tells you that 9 emails are going out, and then you want to click on the settings. So now here's where you can make those changes. Again, you can change anything you want and make the changes, and then you go down here and click Save the Changes. Now, if you just wanted to pause the campaign, say you wanted to go on vacation. So now we just made those changes. It says your changes have been saved. The campaign sends next Wednesday in about 23 hours. So that's how you would either pause the campaign or make any changes. Just going to this one right here, GMass Auto Follow-Up. And then as you get responses, people will go and click or open. So let's see, right now we've already had 3 people open up the emails. So we've had 3 open out of it. Now, as the people open their emails, you'll get these notifications. Here are the ones they've sent. These are the emails that we sent to us, not the campaign. So that is how you send out the welcome series and schedule the automated email. I hope you have great luck with it. Thanks a lot. Unmute. All right, I'm back. Now, I know that looks really technical and everything, but if you take it really step by step, it's really not that hard. I think you'll see as you do it a couple of times, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this really is not that hard. So just watch the video, go through it, and do it step by step. You'll see that it really is pretty self-explanatory. So did you guys follow along with that? I know it's kind of hard to see if you're not like
Yes.
right up on it.
Yeah, it was a little small, but pretty much. So,
Yeah, when you open up in your Gmail, you'll see how how you can change the settings and stuff.
Can you change the font on the unsubscribe, making it smaller, or is it a standardized font size?
Now, what you do is you click the link so that sentence comes on there, and then you can adjust the font however way you want based on your Gmail. So, you'll when you close the settings, you can then adjust that email however way you want.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. So the next one is going to be all about how to use this little setting called canned responses in your Gmail. And this, I think it's kind of this add-on thing that I decided to put in there because so what's going to happen is that you're going to send out these emails and then people are going to start responding back to you, and you're going to start getting these responses. Well, you want to get these responses back out to these people as quickly as possible, and you're going to see that most of these responses are going to be kind of the same emails written over and over again. So what you want to do, especially starting out, is that you want to write these emails and really try to write the best emails that you can, and then save them as canned responses. So for example, they say, oh yeah, I'm really wanting to, I really want to schedule an appointment. How do I schedule an appointment with you? So you have an email that goes out. You'll see that there will be several questions or several different types of emails that you'll have. If you save them as canned responses, then all you have to do is really input the canned responses, maybe make a couple modifications to make it personalized, and then boom, out it goes. And then you can really spend some time creating the best canned response and write that once, so you don't have to keep writing that over and over again. The other thing is that this will really turn into the next funnel, the next sequence. So you're going to have really 3 groups of people. This welcome series is for the people that are just starting out, the prospects that are saying, hey, I'm just interested. You're going to get people that are really engaged, like they're going to ask you questions and how do I become your client? So that's going to be like the engage series. And then you're going to have the follow-up to your clients series, and you're going to want to send your clients specific follow-ups, and like just the ones that I would normally do would be right after you did a treatment. You can send them a follow-up. Hey, how did it go? How are you feeling? Did we resolve your issue now that it's been a day or two? And then maybe another day or two after that, how is it going? Would you like to schedule a follow-up appointment, if that's appropriate? And then you know, the other thing is do you have would you like to give me a review, or a testimonial or a referral? So you can have these follow-ups going out, you know, several days afterwards. So now you can just you can write that whole email, you know, spend a lot of time and really getting that email right, save it into canned responses, and then you can send that out automatically, really like within a minute of putting their name in. So then that can actually become its own follow-up series. So you use these canned responses as you go through your circle of prosperity, as I like to call it, and it becomes a much easier way to engage and follow up with your prospects and clients. And then when you find that that's really working, now you can take and put those into its own sequence. So then you can take your follow-up, for example. Oh, here's all the clients that I saw today. I'm gonna start this follow-up sequence. So in day 1, they say, yeah, how are you doing? Day 2, can you give me a referral? Day 4, you know, can you give me a like on Facebook? Yeah, go ahead, TJ.
Let me write this sequence. Okay, yeah, you could even, what I was gonna, for asking for the referrals, that could be like just a letter within itself to them asking for a referral.
And you can actually set it up so that it will go out. You know, I would not ask for a referral right after. I would say,
no.
Like, okay, I would do the treatment. The next day, I would be like, so how does it feel? Did it, you know, how are you feeling? Did it relieve your pain? Would you like a follow-up? Would you like a follow-up appointment? Then you get a response back from them. Oh my God, I felt so great. Thank you very much. Hey, that's so great. Would you either give me a referral or would you give me a like on Facebook? You know, one of those or both of those. So you can actually set that up in a sequence, just like the welcome series. You can do the exact same thing. So your follow-up clients, your clients will be getting this, you know, 2, 3, 4, you can go all the way up to 8 emails, and you can go out, I think, a couple of weeks. So once you get the hang of this, you'll see, hey, there's emails that I want to send out to these people on periodic basis, and I can program that right in. Go ahead, TJ.
I have another question. On MailChimp, you can create like cards to send out on holidays. Can you do the same thing on this Gmail thing, this Docs and Gmail stuff? Can you do the same thing?
No.
No?
No.
Can't do a publisher type of thing. This is strictly for like
just email.
Copy. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that is a good idea though. All right, so I've got the video on how to use canned responses, and this one's just like a 10-minute one. But don't forget, these emails are in the portal, so when you want to go back and say, okay, now how do I really do this? You know, go ahead, TJ.
Sorry, one more question. Okay, so you cannot drop a picture into the email. So if you wanted a picture of you and the client, or if you wanted to upload a picture into the email. Okay, thank you. So you can still do you can still do holiday emails then if you can upload or drop a picture into the email. So okay. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I guess I didn't understand your question. I thought you were saying, can this generate a physical paper mail? You can create you can create a picture. Yes. The problem with pictures, especially if they have a lot written on them, they get flagged as spam really easily. So the way that you get around that is that it won't get flagged as spam or go into someone's promotions or junk folder if they're replying to you. Okay, if you have a back and forth conversation with somebody, their emails programs are smart enough to know, oh, these people have a relationship and they can pretty much send each other anything. The only early
those are the only people I would want to send a holiday greeting to, or those are the only people that I would want to send a greeting to.
Yeah, so that's why you do want to encourage people when you're in early in this conversation, is for them to have them add you as in your address book and to reply to my email. That's why, the call to actions. Hey, if you've got questions, email me back, and try to get them to email you back as often as you can, so you have a dialogue going. And that really is going to help with your open rates.
Okay. Thank you.
It's also just, good sales and marketing to be actually talking with somebody.
True. Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna do this. Hello and welcome to Online Marketing 101 in the List Builder series. This is step 5, using Gmail's canned responses. So welcome to the List Builder Automation step 5. In this step, we're going to learn how to use Gmail's canned responses and why you should use it. Hi, I'm John Golitz, and in this short video, I'm going to walk you through the process of using canned responses in your Gmail. So the purpose of using the canned responses is to develop a series of emails that you write and perfect once that can be used many times as you reply to prospects and clients' requests for more information. The two areas you can use this most effectively are, number one, in replying to the welcome series when a prospect starts to engage with you about becoming a client. So when they start asking questions, generally you're going to start seeing a lot of the same questions that are going to be asked. And instead of writing a new email for each one, it's better if you just put your best foot forward and write a great email and then copy it as a canned response and then send it out. So the other area is in client follow-ups. This is an area that if you have the canned emails, you're much more likely to send them out. You can use these follow-up emails for things like asking how the treatment went and how do they feel the next day. And then a couple days later, you can ask them if they're looking for a follow-up treatment. And maybe a few days later, you can ask them for a nice review on your Facebook page or a testimonial or anything else that will help engage them. And then you can start the cycle of educating and engaging and treating all over again. So the strategy is to use the canned responses to emails you are frequently responding to, so you're communicating with your best benefit statements and overcoming objections with your best wording, instead of writing every email from scratch and just winging it as you go with no thought or consistency. So this strategy is understood when you consider the differences in the traditional marketing funnel versus what I call the circle of prosperity. So here's a review of the strategy of the circle of prosperity. So here's a traditional practitioner funnel. The 3 stages are building awareness about you and your service to new prospects so they consider you, then engaging the prospects that are already aware of you so they choose you if you're ready, and then performing the treatment. And then once the treatment is performed, most of the time, the practitioner loses contact with the client. What I'd like you to consider is what I call the circle of prosperity. With the client attraction system, you can create a continuous flow of activity that produces a consistent flow of clients. You still have some of the same stages, but it's more of a continuous relationship. So as the initial contact is made, the first step is to educate the prospect about solving their pain. And then you can engage with them and engage the prospect to show that you're uniquely qualified to solve their pain. And then step 3 is where the prospect becomes a client and you perform the treatment. But it doesn't end there. So step 4 is building relationships. And this is where you follow up after the treatment and stay in touch with relevant information that builds rapport. And you do this by using your email marketing platform. And then you can start all over, educating, engaging, and treating your clients for more of a continuous flow of activity that produces a continuous flow of clients. So now hopefully we understand the strategy and why we're doing this. So let's take a look at how you do it. So now we're logged into our Gmail app, and the first step to setting up the canned responses is you have to go up here in this little wheel and click Settings, and then you have to go and click Settings on the drop down. And we need to go over here to the headings and click on Advanced, and then you can see here's canned responses, templates. Create a template response by saving common messages using a button in Compose toolbar. Also automatically send templates responding using filters. So you just need to click this and make sure it's enabled. And then you go down here and click Save Changes. I've already enabled mine, so that's why it's not saving. And then you want to go back to your inbox and you want to compose an email. We're going to call this email the test. So we're not going to make this fancy, but it really works for any of your emails. So once you've got an email all composed, test, is this thing working? Oh, and I've got Smart Compose on. Well, I'm going to keep it on. Anything that will help me type less, I'm all in favor of. Now, when you open up this email, as you can see, it's kind of a small email. I like it a little bigger, so you can go over here and just click this full screen model. Now, this is a little bit bigger. This is a brand new email account for me, so I don't have my signature in here, but you probably will. If you don't have your signature, then just go head on back over here to this little wheel and you'll be able to put your signature in there. So here's how you access canned responses. Just go to these three little dots down here, click on that, and now you can see canned responses is all lit up. And then you just go over here and we're going to save this one as a template. So you just click Save New, and then it asks what a name is. Since test is in the caption, it auto-filled test into the enter a new template name, but you can name it anything you want. So to save it, I'm just going to push send. Oh, I gotta have somebody to send it to. All right, to save you the agony of my typing, I've filled this in. I'm going to send it to my new email address, hello@johngolitzmarketing.guru, and I'm going to send this thing off. All right, so the message has been sent. So it now should be in there. So let's just check and see if it's in there. So let's say you're responding to, a prospect that's emailed you from your welcome series and you want to compose a response. So you just go down here and say you're going to reply. And just click on that little three buttons, canned responses. Up, there's the test, insert template. See, it inserted it right there. You go send it off. Send it off to your thing. See how quick that can be? So that can be a really nice long email with all kinds of great detail in there that you've thought about and used all your best benefit statements that you've developed in your client conversations. And you can send it off really within just a matter of a minute or so versus having to create all that. And when you're responding to prospects that are interested in your service and your solution, speed is important. The faster that you can respond to them, the most likely they are going to be to stay engaged with you and not go and Google somebody else. So that's how you do the canned response. It's really very easy. All you do, again, make sure it's turned on in your settings, and then you just go over here and click the little three buttons, and you can then save them as templates and then use them as templates. So now you've seen how to use the Gmail canned responses, and more importantly, why we're doing this. So if you use this strategy, it's going to make it much easier for you to create your own circle of prosperity. So good luck with this, and thanks for watching. All right. What did you think of that? That was nice. Did you guys know about that feature?
That's good.
No,
No.
no. I mean, it definitely will make it a whole lot easier if you can just start whipping them off. You know, having, like you said, the ones that are thought out and methodical instead of having to compose one every single time that you have to respond to somebody.
Yeah. 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 And one thing I found is that if you do this, regularly, you're going to see, you're going to get comments or questions that are going to be, unusual or not what you stand. But you, like 80% of them, you're going to see over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And if you, really take some time and put together a really great email, that has all your good benefits and stuff in there, and then you save it, it's going to be way better than just when you're typing it up fresh every single time. I know for me, I just get, something happens in the middle of it. It's like, okay, I just got to get this out. And speed is important, but also quality too. So yeah, for me, when I found out this canned response, I'm like, that's a great. There's all these little things that are really great about the Google platform, and it really is what makes this platform. I mean, I have a very expensive Infusionsoft system, and I have a very expensive HubSpot system that is like the HubSpot system that Pulse Center started using was like $5,000 a month. Okay. It's like has all these, this system has better features in it and is easier to use by far than the HubSpot system. Those systems are so complex, and just to set up regular, simple replies like that, is this system is really, really much easier once you figure out these little tricks and techniques, and once you do it a couple of times, you'll get the hang of it, really. And if not, just keep going back to the videos.
Yeah.
Just do the video, watch the video, put it on pause, do the steps, watch the video, put it on pause, just watch it through. If you get stuck, rewind, say, gosh, did I miss a step? Because that's a lot of times what happens, is that you miss a step, or the platform changes. With Facebook, that happens all the time. So I just will say one thing: if the platform changes and this GMass program or Gmail program or Facebook program, whatever, isn't working like the video says it works, email me, and I'll look at the new program and do the new and update the video. So, make sure you let me know that things have changed.
All
right. Well, we went way over today, but I think it was a good one.
But thank you.
No, but
There was
information, as always. But you and Sherry make a great team. You're the techno guy, and she's the emotion girl. But it works great. I mean, seriously, the emotion part is as important.
It totally is.
Side,
yeah.
I mean, it sounds crazy, and people that are really technological will say, "Oh, it's all about the technology," but it's really not. Not when you're trying to attract clients and stuff.
It is what really it makes for us. It's the big difference,
Sure.
Yeah, and I hate to cut her off, but because she will she has zero regard for time.
That's good. I know, but You know,
it's
I
like
know that it's,
we're always running late, but she gets into stuff and she just gets going, you know. It's like she's like really great stuff. Like,
she's
okay,
very
Ariana,
passionate.
but really we'd be here for 4 more hours, you know.
She's very passionate, and that would be okay if we were all together and drinking some wine. But you
I
know,
know.
sitting in front of a screen, it's a little tough.
I know.
Oh, goodness.
It's all good. It's all good. It was very
Yeah.
helpful.
It
Yeah,
is very
I think
helpful.
you guys
And
are making a lot of progress. I see it. So I hope you
yeah,
do.
I mean,
There's been a lot of breakthroughs, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna take practice, definitely. But the more, like anything else, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get doing it, and the easier it'll get. So,
Yeah, and we're just, you know, yeah, we're just, you got to figure that, you know, you're just learning this stuff. It's like, you know, how good of a driver were you, you know, when you had only driven twice, you know? I mean, this
yeah.
it does take a little time just to get used to these new things, but I think the system we put together is going to really, you're going to
No,
find.
it's good, and you've set up the templates to help walk us through it, and that we can keep going back and reviewing. Because without that, forget it. It would be a nightmare. You know, if we just relied on these videos. But the fact that you have the templates and we can go back and review and go step by step, that's super helpful
Good, good.
for sure.
Good. And then the help desk is always there. So anytime you guys have questions like, oh gosh, how do I do this thing in Gmail? Like I'm put that into help desk, because what I'm doing is anytime you guys have a question, then I'm going to do answered in the help desk with a video, so that, you know, the next person has the same question. They can go and
Is that going into your canned Gmail? Your canned thing?
yeah, that's what the help desk is. Actually, it's just all these canned responses.
Sure.
So the more I can load that up with questions, the better it's going to be for everyone. Go ahead.
So your help desk is located in the Kartra practitioners page.
Yeah, the Kartra
That's
portal.
where you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I'll put my questions in there.
There's a little button on the bottom, you know, it looks like a person or something like that. Or there's a ring up at the top. It's kind of hard to find, but
Okay.
yeah, you can always email me too.
Okay. Right. I'll put my questions in there.
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, John. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys. It was a great meeting, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys. Did you get my email that sent out the those templates?
I
Yes.
get my emails like a half a day to a day late sometimes. I don't know why that is, but I got 2 of them anyway.
Okay.
You sent out 3 of them, I think, and I got all 3 this afternoon.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, good. We'll look forward to seeing what your welcome series looks like. Send them to me as you get them. I'll look at it, look them over, and you know, see what we can think.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you. Appreciate
All right,
your
thanks.
input.
All right.
Wake
you
up,
guys-
Veronica. Are you awake?
Yeah, Veronica's out.
We lost her. We lost her.
And it's California time there too.
That's true.